Hey, Uber lifters, how you doing? It's Sean from Ridesharing101.com. And today in the daily vlog, I asked the question, have you ever dated one of your passengers? All right. So this is a bit of a story, and let's do some background. So just last night, I am picking up a passenger. Very nice woman, put together very well, very presentable, very cute, nice clothes, makeup, hair, everything's looking really good. So it's early evening, probably like 5:30 or 5:30 or 6-ish, and I ask her, typical question when I'm, making small talk. So what are you up to this evening? And she goes, oh, I've got a date. And I'm like, oh, right on. So where are you guys going? And she tells me the name of the restaurant. And I say, well, I ask some questions. Oh, so how long you been going out? She's like, oh, well, it's an internet date. And I'm like, oh, first date. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, all right, then I got to ask a bunch of questions. And she's like, yeah, go ahead, please. It'll put me into practice for what's happening tonight. And, I ask about her, where she's lived. And it turns out that she's lived in Manhattan, and I've lived in Manhattan for a couple of years. And I'm like, well, how'd you come to San Francisco? And then she explains how she first moved to LA, and then she moved up here, and then she moved up with a boyfriend. And obviously it didn't work out. And, so we're going through the motions. And basically we get to just the sort of the good part, and her stop comes to an end. I drop her off at the Mission, the restaurant in the Mission, and I'm like, wow, this is the best conversation I've had all night. I'm totally living vicariously through you, and good luck on the date, and all this. And she was very happy, and she's very nice, and that's how we left it. And it got me thinking, because I'm still here, it is a day later. I'm like, I wonder how she did on her date. I mean, was a very attractive, very articulate, very nice young woman. And I'm kind of interested in the dude that she met. Was he able to hold up his end of the bargain? And obviously, in the terms of service, the riders and the passengers aren't supposed to have, contact. You're not supposed to, ask your passengers out. And I never have. I think it's a really bad idea. It opens yourself up to a lot of trouble. But it got me wondering, has it ever happened to you? And if so, how'd it go? What happened? Early on, when Uber and Lyft was a new thing, I did have one passenger who was a lawyer, and I had dated quite a few lawyers, so I knew some legal terms like assumption of the risk and the famous cases that you study when you're studying wills and trusts. And there's the case of the hairy hand, and you can look that up. But I've listened to ex-girlfriends talk about law school and cases and stuff. So with this woman, this was like 5 years ago when I first started. She's like, oh, so Sean, what are you doing later after you drop me off? And not, she didn't ask me outright, but that's kind of where it was leading. And I got the hints, and I certainly could have asked her out, and I could have met her later, but I was seeing somebody at the time, and I'm kind of a one woman at a time kind of guy. So, but thinking about that, thinking about my encounter last night, I'm just wondering if it's ever happened to you, and how did it go? Did it go well? Did it go bad? I seem to think that these things will genuinely go south rather quickly, just because it seems like that's the nature of the beast. But I certainly don't recommend dating your passengers or trying to date your passengers One wrong move and you'll get deactivated, and there will be no going back. But sometimes maybe you just hit it off with somebody. Maybe they ask you out. How does that go? So, that's my thought. I'm thinking of the girl at the restaurant, and if she hooked up or not, or if that's kind of what she's all about. I don't know, because she kept going, this online dating thing it's kind of weird. And I know the last relationship was 6 years for her. So, you know, I wish I knew how it went for her, but, you know, maybe some of you guys can tell me how it, excuse me, how it's gone for you. Leave a message. Let me know what you think. But I will caution you against dating passengers, just because it's a it's a really bad idea. Dating passengers, excuse me, making you know, maybe you interpret something that's said as an invitation. Maybe it's a little harmless flirting, but maybe you take it for something more than it is, and then, you know, you ask a passenger out. The next thing you know, you're getting reported to Uber. They've deactivated you. You have no idea what you did, and you're looking for another job, another form of work. So please be careful if you're even remotely thinking about asking out somebody that you've given a ride to. So on that note, and on this cup of coffee, I will see you next video. Take care, guys and gals.